Hello friends, I want to talk to you about broadcast audio being sent from our SI performer to our ATEM switcher here. Now, one of the issues we've been having recently is we've been sending too loud of audio from our board to the ATEM switcher via our MTX4 or Matrix 4 broadcast matrix. So what I want to show you today is how to adjust that and the two ways we have to adjust that. So first, let me talk about what makes up our broadcast mix. The first thing that's going to make up a broadcast mix is whatever you're mixing for front of house. So whatever you're sending to this left and right fader, based off of the other faders you're controlling for our speakers in this room, that's the first thing that's being sent to our ATEM. And I can show you that by clicking on the matrix button twice. When I click on it twice, it's going to bring up these two channels. And you can see they're labeled left, right, and mono. So 3 channels. What this is showing me is I'm saying, if I click out of this once, I'm saying whatever I'm sending to left and right here to mix this room, right, that's being sent to these speakers up here, is the same thing that if I press this button twice, I'm sending to our broadcast mix. Now, the broadcast mix also has a master fader, and we'll get to that in a moment. What I like to try moving forward is I want to keep this broadcast mix master fader right at -5, and I want to start adjusting our left and right channels on the broadcast mix to bring our overall volume level down that we're sending to this master fader. Now, if I hit select on this master fader, I can come up here to our monitor meter and I can see how much volume we're sending that master fader. Now, right now, it's just picking up some noise in the system, so it's reading a very low reading. But what you want, and I'm gonna force it to do this, what you wanna be sending it is right around there. That's what you wanna see. When you click on select here, you want to see averaging between -12 and -24. Now, your kick from your drums is going to cause it to go into the red every time they hit the kick. I'm not worried about that. If you were to remove that kick, I would want to see this averaging between -12 and -24. You're still going to get in the red because the kick's going to send it over a little bit, but that's not going to hurt us too much, okay? If we need to tackle that in the future, we can. But for right now, we're not going to worry about that. Now, obviously, I forced it to give us that noise by maxing out these levels. So the first thing I want you to do when trying to turn down the overall volume that you're sending to the ATEM is to hit the select button on your master for Matrix 4, which is our broadcast matrix, and then see in the middle of a very loud song, like during the chorus of one of your biggest songs during rehearsal, just check it real quick. Check and see if you're averaging right about there. If you're way above, then what I want you to do is I want you to take the amount we're sending to left and right, and I want you to turn that down here. Okay, so I'm going to start us at -5, but realistically, we'll probably have to dive down to -10. And then I want you to hit select, and then check right here and see how much that helped or didn't help. Now, I'm going to talk to you about one more thing. That should solve our problem. That little adjustment, whatever we need to adjust here, be it to drop this down to -10 or lower, that should fix our problem. But I want to show you how to make our broadcast mix as the best it can be. And that is by adding in our mixes here to the matrix. Now, the cool thing about a matrix is you can send your left and right fader, which is what we're mixing for the house, to the matrix, but you can also send separate mixes in addition to that to the matrix, and all that music combines to make an awesome mix that you are making uniquely for our broadcast. So the other 4 options we have to send to our matrix are going to be our broadcast instruments, our broadcast vocals, and our broadcast drums. Now, if I click out of the matrix and I click on, let's say, broadcast instruments, for example, you're gonna see that my instruments look like this. On this particular auxiliary, the only things I have on are gonna be EG1, 2, AG, and piano. Now, for where we're at right now, we're gonna leave those flat across the board. And if I showed you vocals, it's gonna be flat. If I showed you drums, those are also going to be flat. We're gonna leave those flat for now. We can adjust those in the future, but right now, what I want you to focus on is what we can do to help our broadcast mix and take it to the next level. So, number one, we're gonna wanna click this twice and turn down the volume that we're sending to it and check it to make sure that we're metering correctly. Number two, if we click this button once instead of twice, it's gonna bring up an interesting option. So I'm gonna click on bank C here, and now I can see that if I show you the whole board, what it's letting us do is send these auxiliaries I was telling you, which are lining up right here. It's these guys up here, up here. We can send these auxiliary mixes to our broadcast mix in addition to the left and right fader. So you can see right now, we are sending broadcast instruments, broadcast vocals, broadcast drums, and a separate mix I labeled called Pastor, which is actually mix 14. It just doesn't have a sticker on it. So we're adding these mixes to our broadcast mix, which essentially will make the mix louder. But what it allows us to do is adjust for the internet what we need based off of what it sounds like when we listen to it after Sunday service. Say in the room you don't need a lot of drums, but as you notice on the internet, maybe the drums sound really, really weak. Well, what this allows us to do is increase drums. Right here. Increase drums just to the broadcast mix instead of turning up drums in the house, hoping to improve them on the broadcast. So that's the whole purpose of having these little subgroups here. It allows us to add more instruments, more vocals, more drums, or more pastors to the broadcast mix without having to change anything at all with the front of house mix. Pretty cool. So for right now though, unless you feel like, hey, I know that our broadcast mix needs more instruments, then go for it. By any means, start playing around with these and adjusting these to find the perfect mix that will make our broadcast for Cornerstone Espanol sound awesome. Really, really good. Well, thanks guys. I hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And that'll do it.